Hey, what is going on, guys? It's DK. Back at you with another video here to break down the 11-game NBA main slate on Wednesday. If this is your first time watching, welcome. My name is DK. I make content for Prize Picks, NBA Top Shot, and for daily fantasy sports. If you're looking for more in-depth content on DFS, player pools with core plays, cash, GPP plays, if-then statements for injuries, and most importantly, the private live stream, you can check out my Patreon that's linked down below. And the sponsor of this video, guys, is Roast Umber, which I am drinking every single day to be up late at night for tilting DFS. So if you guys want to try it out, you can use my code DKDFS for 20% off your order. You will not be disappointed. But all right, so let's get into this video really quick. We got our lineup here from tonight. So really, Chicago? Really? On pace for a huge night. Like a really, really big night. Have a lot of exposure to the Bulls. Bucks, 5-point spread. Massive blowout. Starters get pulled with 5 minutes left. Now, sure, some people might say, oh, it's only 5 minutes. 5 minutes is huge, especially for a guy like Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's like 10 fancy points he lost out on. A good 7-8 fancy points lost from Zach LaVine. Obviously, Caruso, Lopez, not super high usage guys, but they probably lost out on a couple points because of the blowout. So I'm on extreme tilt mode. Extreme tilt mode. Now I got to sweat out to see if I can min cash because of this massive blowout. But, I played for a blowout in the 76ers with no Embiid and Harden. No way. They win. Milwaukee with no Chris Middleton. 50-point win. Can't make it up. I was looking, I actually had the same exact lineup as Hoop. He just had Burks instead of Quickly. So I left a little bit of money on the table and went to cook Quickly. So he beat me. Burks beat Quickly by 8 points. But yeah, I had basically all my exposure to 2 games. The Knicks I was extremely high on, to no surprise, or without Randall in a good spot. They all looked really, really good. Mitchell Robinson was tilting me. It was like 1 of 20 from the line. I tweeted that out and someone was like, now you're just finding something to tilt about. I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. But still, can you just make a free throw, Mitchell Robinson? Like, really? But yeah, so I used Toppin. I'm surprised he's only 78% owned. He would have been a 150 out of 150 play for me at that price point. There's just no risk at the price, right? So I used Toppin, Mitchell Robinson Quickly, and RJ Barrett. All did really, really well. And then again, I had that stack in the Chicago game. Was looking amazing, and losing 5 minutes is huge. So I had Giannis, Lopez, ran it back with LaVine and Caruso. And again, now I had to sweat out to see if I can stay in the min cash. So that's it for the look back, guys. Unreal stuff that the game blows out. As far as high stakes right now, in the Rainmaker 3K entry, can I just mention this? It is an absolute lock. When Steph Curry is out, Jordan Poole starts extremely slow and then absolutely smashes. It happens every time. Like, I think the last 4 slates that Steph has missed, that's happened. So winning lineup right now is Poole, Caruso, Barrett, Toppin, Brook Lopez, Trae Young, who you're welcome for those that played Trae Young because I faded him. So he actually made his shots. If I played Trae Young, he cannot hit the broadside of a barn. Gallinari, and then Drew Holiday. So that's it for the look back, guys. Hope you guys had a good night on the 4-game. Let's talk about this 11-game slate. We'll start on the Knicks side. So we don't know the status of Julius Randle yet. He missed due to sore right quadricep tendon. We'll see. I think he has a chance to play in this one. If he does not play, though, then the Knicks are going to look pretty appealing, right? RJ Barrett going to be the highest usage player in a great spot here against the Hornets. You're going to get more usage for the likes like Burks, Quickly, Fournier. I would still like Mitchell Robinson again. He played like huge minutes, and in my opinion, kind of had a floor game for the amount of minutes he played. So I'd be fine going right back to Mitchell Robinson if Randall's out. And obviously, Obi Toppin, 3-4 standout, is a phenomenal value play. So it would basically be the same situation. I would be really high on the Knicks once again. If Randall's in, I would pump the brakes on a lot of those value plays. Probably would just be looking to more of the top-end guys in Randall and Barrett. On the Charlotte side, so nothing really stands out to me. I think LaMelo at 8-9 looks okay. Should play somewhere between 30 to 35 minutes. If he plays like 35 minutes, he can definitely have a ceiling. If he only plays like 30, a little bit hard for him to have a ceiling at the price point. Rozier Bridges, you know the drill by now. They have a ceiling, but they also have a relatively low floor. The bigs in Washington, Plumlee, and Harrell all just look okay. So there's no standout plays on the Hornets side for me. Atlanta and Detroit, so Trae Young 10-4. Again, if I don't play him, he's going to go off. So it's a good matchup. Like his upside a lot for tournaments. Bogdanovich did end up playing, so kind of hurt the wings. Of the wings, probably Gallinari would be my favorite of like Herter, Bogdanovich, Hunter, Gallinari. I think Gallinari would be my favorite there. Capella had a really bad game tonight, but he should play close to 30 minutes and does get his ceiling goes up with Collins off the court. On the Detroit side, so now they're basically fully healthy, almost fully healthy. They have Kelly O back. They have Corey Joseph back. Jeremy Grant's back in the lineup, so nothing really stands out to me, to be honest. I think Cade Cunningham's an okay contrarian play, but he's almost priced at 9K, so Detroit, in my opinion, pretty easy fade. This is not going to be fun, but you have to have a lot of interest in the Sacramento Kings team. Going up against a bad Pacers team, no Sabonis, no De'Aaron Fox, almost guaranteed he's going to be out. So, I mean, it's hard not to absolutely love the Kings. We'll start Davion Mitchell, who's probably going to be the most popular player in the slate, or right up there. I think he looks absolutely amazing here. Going to do all the ball handling. He played 46 minutes last game, so Mitchell looks phenomenal. Harrison Barnes now is going to be one of the highest usage players on this offense at 5.5K. I think he looks great. I think Trey Lyles looks solid in the mid-range. He's already been playing pretty big minutes. He looks pretty good. DiVincenzo gets a pretty big usage bump. I think he probably plays mid-30s minutes. I think he looks really good. Holiday, not a super high usage guy, but should play big minutes and is a fair value play. I think Metu is a guy that probably plays more. He's like a pretty good point per minute guy. He's only 3.4K. I think he really looks solid. I think Jeremy Lamb at 3 looks good. I would assume he probably plays at least 20 minutes in the spot, probably more. And then Damian Jones most likely starts the 5. If he does, I think he looks phenomenal. They could also dust off Alex Len and start him. It's possible. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, it's basically any guy in the Sacramento rotation tomorrow, I absolutely love. So I'm thinking the rotation's going to be Barnes 1, Lyles 2, Mitchell 3, DiVincenzo 4, Holiday 5, Jones 6, Metu 7, Lamb 8. Probably Len 9 is the backup 5. Maybe you get some Mo Harkless run, maybe. So a lot to like there for the Kings. On the Pacers side, so we do have some question marks. Halliburton, Jackson, and Duarte all questionable. If they all miss and like Brogdon Hield should dominate the usage, both look good at the top. Would prefer Brogdon to Hield. Smith at 6'2". Again, if there's no Isaiah Jackson, he'd play the backup 5. You'd probably have Goga start. He'd be an okay GBP play, but Goga would stand out assuming that he starts. And then more run for, some of these cheaper options as well. If all the questionable players are in, then it's like, I think like the top end guys look okay in Halliburton, Brogdon, Hield, just because it's a great matchup. I think Goga still looks decent, but I don't know if there'd be a standout play for me on the Pacers side. Utah and Boston, so might be a good game to watch, not necessarily for DFS purposes. We know Boston's solid on the defensive end. Utah is as well, even though they're not the same as years past. So nothing that really stands out. I will mention, though, and I don't think a lot of people are factoring this in, that without Bojan Bogdanovic, Clarkson's been playing huge minutes, even with like all three of Conley and Mitchell and Clarkson healthy. So like they're running a ton of 3-guard lineups, right? Their closing lineup is Conley right now. It is Conley, Clarkson, Mitchell, Royce O'Neal, and Gobert. That's who they're closing with. So not saying he had to play Clarkson, but I will say he's like, you can't project him for like 25 to 30 minutes in the spot. You should be projecting Clarkson for like 36 minutes right now. So I think he's playable. Again, he's going to play huge minutes. So I think Clarkson's playable. Mitchell and Gobert look okay as well. Conley at 5'8" makes for a pretty safe play. Should play low 30s minutes. Like the main guys for the Jazz all look kind of decent to me. No standouts. The rest of the Jazz, I mean, Whiteside's a good point per minute guy, but you probably need some Gobert foul trouble or blowout. Royce O'Neal should play big minutes, but not a high usage guy. He's a fair value play. Gay and Hernangomez should split them time, but I don't know if either are necessary in the slate. So that's it for the Jazz. On the Boston side, not a lot stands out to me either. You have Robert Williams and Marcus Smart expected back here in this one. So fully healthy team. I mean, I think you can take some shots in Tatum and Brown in tournaments. That's okay, but there's nothing really on the Boston side that I like. Brooklyn and Memphis. So Some question marks here with Curry and Dragic. I expect both to play, but we do have Kyrie back, so it's a little bit hard to prioritize anyone on the net side. Like, it's a decent matchup, so like if you want to get to a KD or Kyrie at the top, I'm not going to say no, but neither stand out. Bruce Brown's played extremely well. Both Kyrie now back. It's hard to get to him. Curry and Dragic, and I expect both to play. They both feel a little bit overpriced. I think Drummond's always a fine GPP play, minutes-wise. You know, it kind of fluctuates. Clarkson playing the backup 5 right now, but his price is up, so... with Kyrie back, it's a little bit hard to feel good about anyone on the Memphis side. So, decent amount to like here. No John Morant. I think Tyus Jones is way too cheap at 4.6. He's going to start. He's going to play probably low 30s minutes, 30 to 32 minutes. I think he looks phenomenal. And then just a ton of usage to ground for likes of BANE, Jackson, Dylan Brooks. I think all three look really solid in the mid-range. All three have a pretty high ceiling with no John Morant. So, again, BANE, Jackson, Brooks all look really good to me. Adams doesn't really get a usage bump with John Morant out, but he'll probably play somewhere around mid 25 to 30 minutes, I think. You know, if Triple J or Adams gets in foul trouble, it's Brandon Clark that, you know, usually sees a bump. So I think he's an okay contrarian value play. Slow-mo 4-2 should see around 20 minutes, but I don't know if it's necessary to go there on this slate. Golden State, Miami. So Steph Curry, we know, is going to be out for a while. It's a tough matchup. But I think once again, if I had to pick between the guards, it would be Jordan Poole at 7-6. He started extremely slow, but salvaged the night. Again, not the best spot, but I think Poole looks okay. Draymond in a back-to-back, we'll see if he plays. If he misses, like I like Otto Porter Jr.'s played extremely well over the last couple games. He had another good game tonight, so I think Otto would decent if Draymond is out. You know, Kuminga could be a potential value as well if they rest Draymond at a back-to-back. We will see. If it's a fully healthy team, then I don't know if there's anything that I really like on the Golden State side. On the Miami side, it's hard to say. A lot of question marks here. Jimmy, Hero, Oladipo, Martin, all questionable. If they are all out, then obviously like Bam Adebayo looks amazing at 7-9. Kyle Lowry look really good in the mid-range. And then these value plays like Struss and Robinson and Tucker would all look really, really good. So we'll keep an eye on that. If it's a fully healthy team, it's like, yeah, they all just look okay. So again, Miami's kind of hard to talk about right now just because there's so many question marks. Phoenix and Minnesota. So Devin Booker, 9-3. I think it looks really good. I like the matchup a lot. He's playing huge minutes. He is doing some ball handling as well. So I think Booker looks really good. Nice that he has that shooting guard eligibility as well. DeAndre Ayton, 7-3, does have a ceiling, but the minutes right now are kind of capped at around 30. But he's still playable. Cameron Payne, I don't mind either at the mid-range, 6.9K. He's still a guy that can go for like 40-plus fantasy points. So I think he's a decent contrarian play. Should play, you know, low 30s minutes. Bridges, too pricey for me. Crowder, priced about right. I will always mention McGee. Now, it's a big slate, 11-game slate, so there is already a good chunk of value. But he's a guy that, you know, if something happens to Ayton or the, you know, game blows out, he gets a little bit extra run, he could absolutely break a slate just of how productive he is when he's on the court. So more of a contrarian value play, but I always mention him just because of how productive he is on the court. On the Minnesota side, Cat is questionable. But right now I'm expecting him to play. He was questionable last game and ended up playing. So of the big three, they're all fine GPP plays. No standouts of Cat, Edwards, and D'Lo. If the game is competitive, probably one of those guys is a good game. The guy that does stand out, though, and I like quite a bit, is Patrick Beverley, 4.8K. Played 32 minutes last game and shot awful, 2 of 10, and still went for 28 fantasy points. So I think he's too cheap. I think he should be about a 6K player right now for, you know, a guy that should play around 30 minutes. So I like Patrick Beverley, decent amount there for value. Vanderbilt, you know, minutes kind of been all over the place for him. I think he's a fine GPP option. Don't know if I get to anyone else on the Minnesota side. Orlando and OKC, so good matchup for both sides here. Well, these are the two that matched up a couple days ago, right? When I stacked the Thunder, which we'll get to that, and they all shot 5% from the field. And the next night, in an awful matchup, they all absolutely smashed. Once again, Trey Mann, so happy he had 7 straight threes. Bazley almost 50 bomb. Pokashevsky absolute smash. I love those guys. So, wow, so proud of them. Really, really am. But yeah, Wendell Carter Jr., 8.4K. I mean, he's been the most consistent player. Should play low 30s minutes. I think he looks decent. Cole Anthony had an okay start to the game, kind of cooled off. Again, viable tournament option. Bamba and Wagner, kind of the same thing. Viable GP plays. Markelle Fultz is not expected to play in this game. He's expected to rest. So no Suggs and no Markelle Fultz. I think, you know, Hampton, Gary Harris should play more. Where's Gary Harris? Gary Harris, the flatman price. I mean, he's not a priority play, but should play mid-20s minutes. I think he's an okay option. Again, Hampton probably plays a little bit more. You might get a little bit more on for a guy like Chumo Kiki. Wagner in a blowout could smash, but this game probably you would think it stays close. So again, more of a tournament-only play. In the Thunder side, so Shea's questionable. He did play last game, so I'm expecting him to play. If he does play, I think he's a good tournament option. Right now, he's doing everything for the team. But as I said, right, Darius BAZLEY played him last slate, 1 rebound, and that's it. The next night, in an awful matchup, 10 boards, 3 assists, a block and a steal, and almost a 50 bomb. Trey Mann. I played Trey Mann in a great spot without Shea. 5 of 19. The next night, 7 straight threes, 13 of 21 shooting, and a 50 bomb. And Alexei Pokusevski. I play Alexei Pokusevski. Great matchup, no Shea. 3 of 20 shooting. The next night, awful spot. 7 of 13 shooting, 34 fancy points, an absolute smash. Don't know what else to say, really. I'll mention Isaiah Roby at 5K. Started center, shot awful last game. 2 games ago, did have a ceiling game. If there's no Sar, I mean, he's really their only other center, so he'd be an okay GPP play. His minutes are not secure. Like, if Shea misses, and obviously, you know, Wiggins and Mann and Pokusevski and BAZLEY are all going to look better. But knowing my luck, Shea will sit. I'll go back to the Thunder, and they will shoot 5% from the field. Houston and Dallas. So, nothing really stands out for me on the Houston side. I think Wood and KPJ and Jalen Green, the top 3 guys are viable GPP plays, but tougher spot. There's nothing that stands out to me in Houston. On the Dallas side, so no Luka Doncic. I think Brunson and Dinwiddie stand out as 2 of the best plays in the mid-range. Dinwiddie's been, you know, better than Brunson of late. So I think I would feel a little bit better about him. He's also a little bit cheaper, but both look amazing. You can definitely play them both. They should dominate the usage here in a phenomenal matchup. Dorian Finney-Smith, role doesn't really change, so I'm not really looking at him at 5-4. Powell had a really good game last game, but that was definitely an outlier. So, again, with Luka out, I don't really think Dwight Powell, they're going to be like feeding him in the post. I do think, you know, a guy like Maxi Kleber probably plays more at 4-1. He makes for interesting value play. Reggie Bullock already seeing big minutes. Maybe plays a couple more. You're probably going to see a little extra run for a guy like Josh Green. Maybe they dust off Ntilikina and Trey Burke. You know, one guy, like, if I knew for sure Trey Burke is going to play, like, backup point and play 20 minutes, I would like him in tournaments, but they could just very easily go to a guy like Frank Ntilikina instead. And Ntilikina's a 3-2. Yeah. It's mainly Brunson and Dinwiddie that I've mentioned on the Dallas side. Philadelphia and the Lakers, a great matchup here. Embiid at 11K, I do think looks pretty solid. Harden looks okay at 9-9. Nothing else I'm interested in, though, on the Philadelphia side. On the Lakers side, tougher spot. LeBron at 11-6, a fine GPP play. He went off in a tough spot there against Cleveland. Westbrook has quietly played better of late, 56, 50, and 45 fantasy points, but I just don't think I can stomach it. He's caused me way too much pain this year. The value, not much that stands out to me. Monk, Melo. I will mention, though, this is a big team. So like you're not going to see LeBron on, you're not going to see like LeBron or Melo, I don't think, on Embiid. So insert Dwight Howard and Wenyen Gabriel, right? You're not going to feel amazing about it, but Dwight Howard might be their best bet to try to defend Embiid. So I know his minutes have not been great. He started a couple games, still hasn't played huge minutes, but if by the off chance that like Dwight Howard plays 30 minutes in this game, he could break a slate. So like I'm intrigued by Dwight. I'm intrigued by Gabriel as well, who's been starting, played 32 minutes last game. I think both look okay here. I think Gabriel a little bit safer. He also has that power forward eligibility, but those are really their only 2 bigs they can try to throw at Embiid. Like I said, I really don't see them throwing Melo or LeBron at Embiid. And finally, San Antonio versus Portland. 2 bad teams going up against each other. I do like DeJounte Murray a good amount. He's struggled over the last couple games, but I think it's a nice buy low opportunity here. And just one of the best possible spots. I do like some DeJounte Murray. The mid-range options, Pirtle and Johnson, both just look okay. The sell, again, priced about right. No Lonnie Walker. Like Josh Richardson's played well late at 4-7. I think he's a fair value play. We've been seeing Josh Primo play big minutes. I think he's a decent value as well, 3.5K. But that is it for the Spurs on the Portland side. So no Dame, no Nurkic, no Hart, no Simons. Brandon Williams at 6'8", so he kind of saw the big usage bump. Went for 40 fantasy points last game. I think he looks decent here in the mid-range, a guy that does have a ceiling. The bigs in Watford and Eubanks both look decent to me in the mid-range as well. I expect around 30 minutes for both of them. Winslow at 5'9", so played, 30 minutes last game. I think we get around 30 minutes from him. He's kind of a do-it-all guy. I think he's a pretty safe option in the mid-range. You saw a big game from LB at 4'4". Still didn't play huge minutes. Still only played about 25, so more of a secondary option. I'll mention Chris Dunn again. He had an awful shooting game last game. Shot 1 of 8. Had a bad game. But he's still relatively cheap, and it's a good matchup. So don't think I get to anyone else, though, on the Blazers side. So that's going to wrap it up for the video, guys. So yeah, if you guys do enjoy this content, just make sure to hit that like button. It does help me out a ton. Let's try to aim for 100. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. Again, those things all help me out a lot. Appreciate all the support as always, guys, and I will see you in the next video.